Hello.
I was going to see who goes first there. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Schmovie podcast. It's been a minute, or whatever a minute times 3 weeks would equate to.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Life gets busy sometimes. Yep. Priorities take effect, and not that we don't love you, but we need to take care of some other things first.
Yeah.
But we are back with episode number 62, and since it's been 3 weeks, like I said, we're going to kind of just take this episode and kind of dedicate it to just catching up. I mean, we haven't even gotten together, the three of us, in that much time to even discuss what we've seen, let alone kind of theme an episode. So John suggested we kind of get together and just say, hey, what did you see this week, last week? So
I texted Steve and I said, remember when we used to do that podcast together?
way back when?
What do you think about getting the podcast together again?
Right.
Let's get the old band together for one more show.
Enter montage of us getting ready, getting us suited up.
You get some good sound right in there, like some good 80s song or something. I don't even know. And you can just imagine us like...
some power ballad.
Yeah, power ballad.
So I didn't watch many movies, but I did do something really neat while we weren't together. I started on a comic book series that is blowing my freaking mind open.
What?
So, and this is related to one of the movies that we talked about, Batman.
Okay.
There is a series called Death of the Family, in which Joker. So, in the story, in the new 52, the DC Comics.
I'm not going to pretend I haven't read Death of the Family already.
Okay, you read it already?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about it because it's shaking
Folks,
me up.
there are comic books stacked in various corners of the basement that we record this podcast in. I'm not a secret comic book reader, but it's not something I lead with,
So, apparently, like a year ago...
I'm not ashamed, Ronald.
Right, nothing wrong with that. Joker got his face cut off and disappeared from comics for an entire year, right?
Yeah.
So, he reappears... and his face is...
Well, he was kind enough to find his old face and use a belt or something to kind of strap it back onto his head.
And I haven't finished reading it, but basically it follows all the people in the Batman world that are... Batman is not just Batman anymore. He's like X-Men almost. He has a couple people behind him. Batgirl, Red Hood, all these people helping him now. So Joker kind of reemerges as this figure, and he wants to destroy his family because he feels like Batman has become weak and soft and fat while he's been having these people support him. But his approach to doing all this stuff is very different than he ever has done it. Mm-hmm. Where it used to be jokey and playful, he wants to murder these people.
Well, I would feel like this storyline in the comic really seems to pull from... And I don't read I read the Batman comic. I don't read. I haven't read all the other like Batwoman and all that stuff.
I'm reading all the side comics too.
Yeah,
so
I haven't done those. I haven't done those, but I followed the Batman. That was one of the few comics that I was like, I'm just going to buy this just because I like the art and I like the writer.
Absolutely.
But it feels like they were really pulling from the Heath Ledger version of the Joker, in the sense that he's this kind of he's a truly a pretty scary, dangerous, sociopathic guy, but the way that he views his relationship with Batman, the story is all about him kind of trying to drive a wedge between Batman and all the people that he's formed this little extended family with. In the comics, there have been several Robins, and there's all these different levels of people that used to work with Batman. So it's all about breaking up that group, breaking up that little family.
Various memes.
Yeah,
it's that feeling that I used to get when I read comic books when I was younger. And it's exciting to get a storyline, especially through DC, because DC's not really known as a stronger of the two in a lot of people's eyes, to kind of see what the new 52 has brought about. And if anybody doesn't know, a lot of the properties had been reset because the image was pretty bad. The image of DC's been bad, with the exception of some of the break-off comics that Mark Miller and a lot of other people.
Especially with regard to the movies.
The
Marvel has had a lot of success, obviously, with launching their kind of comic book universe on screens with Iron Man and Thor and Avengers, and there's 5 or 6 more movies planned. DC has had Batman,
and that's it.
And that's really it. Now they're about to get Superman started with Man of Steel, which I don't know if you guys have seen the latest trailer for that.
looks out.
I believe
think it looks-
I believe
yeah,
enough
I'm-
in Zack Snyder's ability to put together a really nice looking movie that if the script to that is good, I think that
it's gonna be
I wonder if it's going to be a little too serious, but I don't know. Maybe that's just the way they do these things now. Is they try to make them.
Yeah.
But I mean, like one of the things I loved about the old Richard Donner Superman movies was just that the lightness of the tone of those was really very comic book.
But it still wasn't so light that you didn't take it seriously.
Right.
You're like, man, Superman's it's a cool character, but there's I like the lightness to it.
Yeah.
With the exception of Richard Pryor.
As we were saying, though, about what they did with the new 52, it's funny how that both comic book companies have done this thing where they've tried to relaunch everything so that new readers who might see the movies and might want to buy the comics are not going to be scared when they pick up Batman and it says issue 530 or something.
Yeah, which is the worst.
So the big thing now is that they're all about resetting and renumbering, and after even a couple of years now, they'll just start a title over because it's like the idea is if someone goes into the comic shop, they want it to be like a jumping on point. Yeah. I honestly don't know if that happens. Like,
it still happens though.
Well, it's hard to picture.
Get overwhelmed.
I think there are certain people. I think there's a mainstreaming of it, but still the act of going down to the comic shop and buying new comics the day they come out is still a very very small section of society that will do that. I sometimes feel a little bit like I've gone to like a porn shop or something like that when I buy comics. Like I hope people that don't think I'm just down here to buy comics. I'm also a grown up. I'm buying like cleaning supplies and things like that.
Yeah. So the series Death of the Family is about 24 comics. It's about 4 or 5 main comics, and then the tie-ins. It's about 19 or so. And I'm reading the tie-in comics with it. So reading the main Batman comics and the Batman and Robin comics with it make it so much crazier because you're seeing the references, how the villains are coming together. That's another thing that's happening too. I mean, not to give too much away, but basically he's collecting.
No one who's listening to this is going to go buy the comic books, Ronald.
He's collecting people to like help him. So that's also like,
if you're out there and you're listening and you're gonna buy comic books, you've probably already discovered comic books and you're reading them.
You know about this already.
But you can also now hit me and Ronald up because we can talk comics.
Exactly.
What other comics, before we move on? What other comics do you read?
Well, let me see. It's funny you should ask that because I got a bunch.
Because he doesn't know.
That is
so
funny.
I'm reading. I just got what's her face? Hit Girl. I just got that one. I just got the Hit Girl individual comic, and I'm reading Kick Ass 2 simultaneously. And I'm reading Marvel Annihilation. And I'm trying to get into the new Spider-Man, and I don't know how I'm feeling about it. The one with the black, the Hispanic kid that's gay.
Oh,
isn't he like Hispanic and
like
gay?
the alternate universe Spider-Man?
Yeah,
where Peter
like
Parker died. Yeah,
that one. So those are the ones. And Thief of Thieves.
That's what I have to add to the conversation.
And also Jeffrey Brown. Did we talk about Jeffrey Brown books?
I don't think so.
Jeffrey Brown is like I don't know, man. His stuff is all autobiographical. So it's like things about him losing his virginity to a woman that he loved that treated him like shit eventually. Him having a cat.
Who's popular?
That'd probably be Ronald.
No, it's actually not mine.
John.
No, I should be. We keep getting the little chime. No, I was turned off.
Yeah, maybe that was my iPad. So yeah,
all this technology.
Right, all the technology going off. But those are the ones I'm reading right now. Thief of Thieves, I just started, but that's my rotation right now. I need it. I'm still reading Death of the Family. I'm getting towards the end. I'm like, out of 24 comics, I'm 12 in. So that's the focus right now. Once I finish that, then I'll start reading the other ones that I've been collecting.
There's a comic called Fatale that I think I recommended to you.
So funny. Yeah.
That I'm enjoying a lot. And Marvel actually has a Daredevil series going on right now.
The Daredevil series is so crazy.
That's really well written and the art's really great. And well, there you go. Yeah. He just showed me that he's reading Fatale on his on his iPad. I can only imagine that those titles arrived legally and through some paid service. Right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's what they tell me.
But I'm sure there are others that I would think of otherwise. Oh, Saga that's written by Brian K. Vaughan and with art by Fiona Staples. That's an interesting kind of sci-fi comic that's been going on for about a year. There's a lot of really cool stuff that's happening in that world. I think what's interesting is that with the advent, the same reason that you see all these movies that are based on all these kind of nerd properties like the Transformers movies and all the superhero things. It's like it's apparent that people of I can look and I can tell, oh, this is when the people of my age demographic started running Hollywood, because all these properties from when I was a kid started getting made into movies. And I think with comics right now, what they've done is they've realized who's buying comics. Like where they're finding new audiences is not by marketing to kids, it's by marketing to grown-ups who still like that kind of storytelling. Yeah. And so in that sense, I think there's a lot of cool things going on right now, a lot of storytelling in comics, where you'll see that the writers of that comic are also writing for television series or developing movies and things like that. Like there's a lot of synergy between what's going on in comics and what's going on in filmed entertainment.
Yeah, definitely. So
Steve,
it's a good time to read comics.
I know you're a big football fan. Do you want to like interject some like
go Ravens?
Yeah, exactly. Something with a little more.
That's all I got.
A little more testosterone behind it. Okay.
No, you guys got it covered. I'll allow the comic book rant. Because, it feeds a lot of these movies that we end up, we'll probably be talking about in a couple years.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
These resources that the comic books serve as are just, most of the films or some of the films that we have on our top film lists year in and year out sometimes are.
Even some of the unexpected ones.
Is it weird that I think Walking Dead has revitalized comic books?
I think it's part of that movement.
Yeah.
And if you ask a comic shop owner, I bet they'll tell you that Walking Dead brought them more new customers than the Avengers movie did. Yeah. Because I think the Avengers movie appeals to such a wide spectrum of people that people can come out of that movie and go awesome and not ever feel like they need to follow up on it. But I think Walking Dead is that niche where people are going, what? This has got 100 issues out of it?
Right. What is going on in this world?
And the temptation was to maybe read the comic to figure out what was going to happen in the show. But that's one thing about Walking Dead, which I think we were talking about before we started recording, that it's a pretty flawed show in a lot of ways, but one thing that it's done that's kind of interesting is it's distinct from the comic. You could read every issue of that comic and still not really have a firm idea of where the show is going. So they've done a good job of kind of diversifying.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, or at least they've done a very watchable job of diversifying.
Yeah,
I won't say it's a good job because there's some.
That's some stuff.
When we do TV Schmovie, we'll unload all our feelings about that.
Yeah. So what movies has?
But now that Ronald has opened the field up to things we've done and we're into that aren't a movie, well, there's no parameters to this podcast anymore, Ronald. We could now just talk about like a new pair of shoes we bought. We could talk about a good.
I'll say right now, I bought the first ever pair of shoes in my life that cost more than $30.
Really?
Yes, I bought my first pair of Nike running shoes. Not the ones I'm wearing now, obviously. But yeah, man, I felt very good about it. I used them today for the very first time, and they were $50 at the Nike outlet. And I'm very happy with my purchase now that it's open. I'll say that right now.
I'm not even trying to humble brag, but
it's the Nike Lunar Glide 4.
How do they feel?
Amazing.
I need to invest in some running shoes.
I've never owned a pair in my life.
Spent over $50 on a pair of shoes.
Ever.
He said over 30.
Over 30 probably.
Can I tell you
30 to 40 at the most. I don't really care about shoes.
I know. If I told you.
They cover my feet. That's really all I care.
How am I a decade older than you, but I started spending more than 30 on shoes I feel like 15 years ago.
Nah, man. Nah, I can't do it.
Are you buying are you going to outlet stores or something like that? Are you finding
I'm hitting the outlets up, just wherever I can get shoes, clearance shoes. I don't really give a shit. Ronald's a shoe guy. Like he collects shoes. Shoe covers.
Are you one of those guys that kills people for their shoes?
No comment.
See, because that could be a trick. I've never spent this much.
No, but now I started running more and trying to get in better shape. I realized that the shoes I own are not built for that at all, and they hurt my feet. Yeah. So now I buy these shoes. They're a little more expensive. Got a really great deal on them. And I use them today for the first time, and I see that I'm an idiot, and I should have been using these for a very long time because it feels completely different. And so yeah,
I'm glad you
that's
sprung on some.
That's my random throw in.
I'd like to throw in a shout out to the Italian cold cut sub out at Bagelmeisters in Jarrettsville. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do this. Let's bring some structural integrity back to this podcast and somebody talk about a movie.
Well, it's kind of been a weird period. Even though we haven't been together, I really haven't been to the theater a whole lot.
Yeah.
I think we've mentioned it multiple times in the past few episodes. It's like this is a weird area of the year where
turd time is what
people talk about a lot of great movies because of the end of 2012 and the upcoming the Golden Globes and the Oscars coming up this weekend. But in theaters now, there's really not a whole lot of substance. The only film that I look at Rotten Tomatoes and see that is a fresh film, I think, is only one or two of them, and in wide release, and one is Side Effects, which I haven't had a chance to see yet. But everything else is 40% or less.
Well, there was that weekend a couple of weeks ago when a lot of things we'd talked about dropped, and I realized that I wasn't going to end up seeing them. You know, it's like I realized I'm probably not going to see Identity Thief. I might not make it out to see Side Effects.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't just because there was stuff going on in my life at that time that would stop me. It was just like, I guess maybe it's like if we're doing an episode and we're trying to figure out what movie we're going to talk about, we see a lot of things.
Sure.
And that actually ties into something. It's funny how getting ready to talk about a movie with you guys, you put so much thought into it. Do you ever have this thing where you come in here and you talk about a movie and then you leave and it's maybe, if you ever listen to the episode later, you realize you don't even know if you had an opinion about the movie when you were talking about it, but now you do. Because it's like, after we did the episode...
You've informed yourself.
I sort of decided that I really didn't like Warm Bodies that much after we did the episode.
Right,
and when I heard it, I was like shocked to hear myself kind of sounding favorable towards the movie, and I was sort of like, wait, I really thought I wanted to come off a lot more negatively than I did. So I think a lot of times when you don't see those movies and we don't talk about them, that feeling, I've got to see Identity Thief. It's like a week goes by and you're like, why do I gotta? You know, there's nothing like timeless about those movies. So I've actually been trying to catch up on some movies that I've, there's a list of those movies from last year that I never saw that I'm still trying to tick off that list. But,
yeah, that's where I was going. It's just that I think I've seen one film in theaters since we last got together. And that was not a good film at all. And the rest of the movies I saw that we can talk about are films that I either had on a list in in an app on my phone where I just keep track of what I eventually want to see just from hearing word of mouth or reading an article online. And those films were just things I found on Netflix, or actually all of them were on Netflix.
There's a lot of stuff on Netflix that's like that I was intending to see and didn't see, and now it's all
Netflix is really, beyond like kind of...
I think Compliance is on Netflix.
Yeah, beyond all the buzz they've gotten for their show House of Cards, they really have... there's been a shift in their content recently where they've really...
You guys should know that tonight Ronald is on something called Marley's Mellow Mood.
Yes, Bob Marley, rest in peace.
If you remember back in '61 when Ronald sounded like he had been shot with a horse tranquilizer, he was thinking like he wanted to carry that energy forward as much as possible.
It worked very well for him.
It needs to be as mellow
This
as
stuff
possible.
has melatonin in it, and it says reduces stress and relieves tension, decaffeinated. But it also has a warning that I should not operate heavy machinery while I'm using this.
I shouldn't have given you the old crank microphone to use on this.
So yeah, I gotta be careful with that. Do not mix with alcohol. May cause drowsiness.
Well, that's the melatonin piece, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You feeling
Do you
it?
think that's where mellow comes from? Melatonin.
I bet.
I think it is. Yeah. I think it is.
No.
Just tell him yes.
No, don't be a dick. I saw your face. I saw your face.
I bet it's not. But it might be. You know what? It took me forever. I just realized this like in the last year that luggage. That luggage is something you lug. It took me forever to realize.
Mind
that.
blown.
There you go.
Melatonin, mellow.
And the thing is, like, so surely the word luggage is like an old word, but it sounds like a Pauly Shore kind of word. Like luggage.
Luggage.
You're gonna look it.
Yeah.
Luggage.
Like, it sounds like the first guy that said luggage, if someone was like, do you mean my suitcase? Out of my way, hippie.
Oh man.
So what was the movie you saw that you thought pretty much sucked?
Well, in theaters I saw the new film Safe Haven, which is actually directed by Lasse Hallström, which he's got
That's
some
one of those movies that when
credibility.
it came out, the trailer wasn't even like a real trailer. It was like the commercial before the trailer started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some movies seem like fake movies somehow. And I
Yeah.
guess Nicholas Sparks is kind of like, it's a niche, right?
He just pumps it out. Yeah, all they have to do with these trailers is be like, from the guy that brought you The Notebook.
Yeah.
And the guy that brought you whatever the hell else that they
Yeah.
put out by him, which is, it seems like there's like one every 6 months or something.
Is this the movie where the girl keeps running away? She's like, I don't know if I could do this thing.
Well, sort of. Like, it's basically, the only thing that intrigued me by it was that the trailer that I had seen, it almost made it look a little, I guess darker than most of his, all of his stories and novels and films that are based on his novels have a bit of darkness to them in terms of, like, what the subject matter is with the girl, or what she's running from, or what he's trying to hide. But this one kind of like it reminded me in the
I love
trailer.
that those are the columns. Like when Nicholas Sparks goes off to write, it's like, what's the girl running from? What's he
That's
trying
all
to
it is.
hide?
Checklist.
Later on,
I spoke with Nick. Yeah,
He uses search
he
and
told me.
replace to replace the girl with whatever character name he comes up with for
That's
the
it,
girl,
buddy.
and then he with the guy.
It's a formula. It's
Yeah.
math. You don't have to do anything. It's
Sam
math. You
officially-
can't argue with
So
math.
Gosling's gotten too big. Rachel McAdams is off doing some show in Canada or something like
Whatever.
that. So it's like he got who? Julianne Hough and Josh Duhamel.
Yeah, but the thing that even made me want to see it a little bit was because the trailer had a bit of, I don't know if you remember Sleeping with the Enemy,
Yeah.
the Julia Roberts film. I don't know, it had like something about it like that. This girl's running away from an abusive relationship. She stops in this seaside town down in North Carolina, and that's where she meets Josh Duhamel.
Yeah, let's just say his
Josh
name different every
Duhamel,
time.
whatever. Fergie's husband. And
Fergie's husband.
it's
Joshua
like,
Hormel.
it just seemed a little different. I mean, it's not at all. I mean, some of the movie.
Duhamel. What are you doing? Everybody in Hollywood changes their name to be like to fit on the marquee better. Like when someone comes out with that name, you know that they're basically saying you're going to have to think about this every time you say their
He's
name.
right.
Like, does he
He's
not
right.
have a nice? I bet his middle name is something like Robert. He could have been
Right.
Josh Roberts.
Joshua Roberts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would have been so much easier.
But not the case.
Nope.
And we just butchered your name, and that's
Yeah.
what you get for being there.
What an
What a
asshole.
stupid last name.
But let me just say something real quick about this movie. Okay, so 1, not good. 2, a moment in the film where I went with my friend and I was joking 35, 40 minutes in the movie, joking about a character in the film saying that she is a ghost. Fucking laughing out loud in the theater. I whisper to her, we're both cracking up. I don't care if this is a spoiler. Nobody
I
listening
think
to this
officially
podcast.
it is a spoiler, but
Nobody listening to this podcast, you can just stop listening if you're going to go see Safe Haven or be pissed that I ruined it for you. But I call this 30, 40 minutes into the movie, laughing our asses off in the theater. And I'll be damned. That is the twist in the movie.
like you made a joke. You didn't know the movie. You didn't know the movie could
ghost.
sink that low.
I didn't think the movie would actually sink that low. And one of the characters, not the main girl,
okay.
but one of the characters is a ghost. And only one character sees her. And the whole time, like, it's really weird. Like, why is she not talking to other people? Why is she only around when the other girl is around?
Yeah.
Why is she always off in the bushes looking at the other girl? This is weird. And then 20 minutes before the end of the movie, you're like, oh my God, he's right. And we were dying. And there's been a lot of articles about how, I don't know if you guys have seen what about that prior to this recording, but it's just ridiculous. Like, it does not work. It's super heavy-handed, and I mean, it goes for the heartstrings, especially where the reveal is with the fact that she actually is a ghost. The only thing I can say about the movie that I really did enjoy, and that's because I love like coastal towns, wherever they shot this film, I thought was absolutely gorgeous. A lot of his movies they always seem to be shot in like these North Carolina, South Carolina towns.
He's got
like,
what's she running from?
Yeah.
What's he trying to hide? And then
what town did we not
what
use
pretty
yet?
location can we
I think they used Wilmington and Southport, which are both. I've been to Wilmington before, and I love it. It's gorgeous, and this town is so pretty. I mean, I would love to just live there. That's the only thing I can say about it. Some of the cinematography and just the shots, I think, are really, really impressive. But that's all I can say about the movie. Don't think Julianne Hough is ever going to be a star. I never liked anything she's really been in. I think she's like a background player. She's like a supporting actress that is a part of a group of friends in a movie or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think she can carry a film. She kind of got on my nerves, halfway through it. And Josh, I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't really have one thing or care one way or the other about him. I mean, it's weird. Like, I always have this like feeling when I see movies where a year or two goes by and you see that guy pop up. Like, I think like he's one of these guys. Like, he was in that show Vegas and he was in Transformers and went on a date with Tad Hamilton, which I actually really like that movie. If you've ever seen that,
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's fun. But like these names that are like they're that middle line actor or actress, but they always pop up every couple years in a leading role in a film, and they're like, how are they still trying to tell me that this guy's going to be a star?
Right.
And it's like, it always happens. And I feel like that's what's happening with her too now. Because she was in Footloose. She was in Rock of Ages. She's in this. And all lead roles. And none of them has she come off as anything but miscast.
A lot of times you see it like delayed over the course of like a year or so. The movies this person made when people thought maybe they could make him into a star. And it's almost like maybe after 3 strikes, maybe you don't see them continue to pop up.
Continue that.
And for someone like Josh Mark Hamill, the way that he was sort of like he was in bigger movies than this, and now he's in this. You know what I mean? Like there's a sort of like on his way out.
Well, it's almost like they're trying to say like, okay, well, he was in Transformers, and that was a huge film, but not because of him.
Right. He had nothing to do with it.
And
right?
like, okay, so how do we maybe let's put him in like a romantic comedy, drama, whatever, a Nicholas Sparks movie. Perfect.
Yeah.
Look what it did for Ryan Gosling. Okay, the difference is Ryan Gosling is actually like a good actor, and that film was much better, and the the actual source material of that book was much better.
That was terrible in Vegas. I mean,
I've only seen a handful of episodes of that show.
I used to watch that often.
I never really found him to be anything beyond like a pretty boy, like a face to look at, and that's really all he is in this movie. And I don't know, man, it's weird. Like I want to see a movie like this be good. Like Ronald was joking around me. I do like romantic films. Like I like romantic comedies, romantic dramas. There's something that can a takeaway from them that I really enjoy when there's a good one, and. Like Silver Linings Playbook. I mean, it's as out there. I mean, it's a lot of different kinds of films, but there's a lot of romance and there's a lot of emotion in that movie you can take away between those two characters, and you believe it and you like and trust it, and it's just like there's none of that in this film at all. But I mean, I don't know. It's just not time of year, I guess. Like, okay, let's put it out around Valentine's Day. That's the best shot they have at letting this movie make money, and it still flopped, and it's still just a really bad movie. So stay away. It's weird though. Lassie Hallstrom, like that's the other thing that threw me off.
That's the thing that threw me off too. Was I had to kind of
because I was like, wait
make
a second,
sure I read the name right.
Maybe they're gonna like actually make a good movie, or maybe there's gonna be something else here. Like if they got him interested in it. Not that he's made he did salmon fishing in the Yemen, which I know you loved.
Yeah.
You really liked it.
I did.
I liked it. You really liked it.
I felt like though when I saw that he directed it, I just thought it was strange because I was like, doesn't he make better movies? And then I looked at the last string of 3 or 4, and they weren't. There seems to be this kind of sappiness that.
Yeah, as I look back, I saw that he did Dear John, which is I think another one of these like disposable romantic films that I don't know. Man, it just doesn't. It's another Nicholas Sparks novel that you just. It's like he must be like the go-to guy now for his movie adaptations. One of them eventually will stick, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe they're cheap enough to make, and there's a built-in audience for them or something.
That's true. That's a really good point.
Those are definitely the thing. Is
it makes me think of like Tyler Perry or something where there's almost like a little cottage industry within the film business. Like these are sort of impervious to critics. Maybe I don't know though. I haven't seen what Safe Haven has done in terms of like box office, but I know
Netflix
all the reviews
and Redbox
pretty bad.
There's life for those movies, man. There's life for a couple sitting at home, snuggled up, watching a terrible movie like this.
Well, the reality is that because of the at-home market now, like as it is, like these movies make money. I think this film was made for $28 million, and it came out 2 weeks ago, and it's made almost 34 million.
Well, there's your answer.
So there's your audience. You're right, and I mean, going back to Dear John. Came out Valentine's weekend 2010, made enough money. You know what I'm saying? So you're right. I mean, there are those kinds of films that they just pump them out. They're cheap to make. They get a decent director to do something with a movie to get an hour and a half running time, and then they make their money back in the theater, like this one already has in 2 weeks. And then they hit the market at home, like Ronald's talking about, and that's where they really make their money.
I feel like Sandra Bullock was doing like
she's
80
like
of those.
She's like a pro at those movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's just weird though, because I guess I'm just like, I don't know. I guess I'm just way more critical of it. I mean, even the people that I saw the film with, friends of mine and the audience, I don't think really went over very well. You know what I mean? Like you can tell eventually people, I kind of get this sense of like they're being like hoodwinked. Like, okay, you got me again. Like, but then they're going to be the same people that go back next year for the one that comes out on Valentine's Day, and it's going to be the same movie.
Well, I wonder if maybe there's a combination there of people that are following Nicholas Sparks because they've read the books, or they like, they seek out these movies, or just the people that are looking to go see a movie and they see whatever looks like the dreamiest romance that's out that week. And so it's like if it comes out on that week, there's a certain audience that's going to see it, and so that makes sense that they've made their money back already.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. But I would stay away. If you want to see it, wait till it comes out at home.
If you want to see a good romance, just watch Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah,
I rewatched it, and it was maybe even better the second time because I the second time I watched it, I think I trusted it more because I knew it was going to get me there, and I was watching more for the kind of nuances and the kind of rhythm of it, and I really appreciated the way that like a good romance, it saves the real romantic stuff for the very end. Yep. Like you know, a lot of movies now that it seems like they start off and it's all about a one night stand and they get together and they break up and there's all this back and forth.
Sure.
And I think that classic form of a romance where there's just two characters and you just really want to see if they get together. I think that tension where they're not, you know, they're friends or they're kind of getting to know each other. I feel like the movie does a great job of sort of showing that moment when someone sort of decides, I'm going to stop holding a torch for somebody that's out of my life, and I'm going to start focusing on the person that's in my life. It's actually
a great moment.
Really meaningful, yeah.
Yeah.
And the way you realize the character has made that decision, all that stuff was really, really powerful. But I think we were talking about this before too, and we should bring it up. Is I watched it a couple of months ago because I knew I wanted to see it before we decided what our best movies of the year would be. And then just recently I was watching it with my wife. And I think it's funny when you've seen a movie that you think someone will like and you're watching it with them, but as much as watching it with them, you're kind of watching them. And I think it must be a very creepy experience for the person because it's a little stalkery that you're like standing there like at an angle and you're kind of trying to cut your eyes over and you're kind of going, I knew that like that part. Oh, she's going to cry. This part, she's going to squeeze out a tear.
You know those moments that hit. You're like, all right.
But it's almost like you want to take credit for it. There's a part of you that's like, see,
I told you.
Told you this was a good movie.
See, you need to listen to me more.
Trust my judgment.
And that goes for many things in a relationship, not just movie choices.
Exactly. Like that's what I always hope she'll realize. Well, that was a good movie. Therefore, he's right about everything.
Yeah, I should listen. Yeah,
Universal.
Like, I watched it with my girlfriend too. Like I finally got her to watch it a couple weeks ago, and I mean,
wait, your girlfriend doesn't have to be my wife, does she?
Let's talk about that.
Okay,
later.
we're talking about two different women. I hope.
Yeah. But yeah, it was. It is true. I mean, I sat there watching it with her, and you know, certain parts, like the funny parts, or like the parts where you get a little teary eyed. You know, she's gonna cry. Maybe it's fun. It's fun though. Like I think it's a mark of a really good film when it's not predictable, but it's effective. You know, and it hits you that way, and you know that it's going to affect somebody that you care about, somebody that you can judge their emotions a little bit, and it hits them exactly as you thought it would. And I think that's effective and not predictable. And I think that film, I mean, again, I've seen it like 4 times now.
Yeah,
I mean, every time I've seen it, it just doesn't get old. And I think it's more and more. It feels more and more like familiar to me as I watch it. And I mean, I can't say enough good things about that film.
I think I'm gonna buy it.
I've been pulling for it, man.
I hope.
I don't think it's gonna pull it out, but I
don't think so either.
At the Oscars. But
it's gonna win some stuff.
I think she's gonna win Best Actress.
Yeah, you know that scene where she comes into that family that's already having a scene, and there's like Bradley Cooper and Robert De Niro are both like acting their pants off.
Yeah,
and the way she comes in and just takes charge of that scene, I love moments like that. I mean, in movies, I love it. But I love when you can really point to an actor. You can just go, okay, that person has the chops to come in and like not just sort of steal a scene from De Niro, in good De Niro, but like to dominate everybody, all those other actors in that room.
Great scene.
It was a really cool scene. Like I love those types of moments, and it's like when you see that and you know that someone's nominated. That I don't get real excited about the awards, as you know, but that's one of those things that makes me like I get a little excited when I think like, okay, there's like that. If you know anything about acting, you know the energy that you have to like convincingly. It will not work if you can't do it. A scene like that will, no matter how well written it is, it will not work.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that movie's definitely, and it's like the movies like that are rewatchable. You know, I could see this being one that if I were to make that list we were talking about a while back of movies you kind of watch anytime they're on, I could totally see this being one that if I catch it on cable or if I see that it's on, I will definitely watch. Possibly the rest of it, if not a large chunk of it. So
totally
great movie.
So what did you guys see? I mean, let's bounce it around a little bit. Ronald,
well, I saw one that
you didn't think you saw anything, but now you realize you saw.
And then
Ronald basically lied to us. He said, "I'm going to come in and talk about some comic books, and then I'm going to remember a bunch of shit." I think what Ronald's actually been doing is while we were talking, he's been watching a movie on his iPad, so he can talk about
it. That's what all that noise was.
I saw
he's watching
Upside
You've Got
Down,
Mail.
which Upside Down doesn't come out.
Oh, okay.
Upside Down doesn't come out till March 15th. But apparently, like, this is one of those movies that got pushed back a bunch. And
somebody got their hands on it a little bit ago.
Yeah, and now it has a release date, which is March 15th. But I can still talk about it because that's what I do.
You do that.
There's not an embargo or something?
Yeah, so the story is interesting.
Tell us the whole story in detail. Ruin it for us.
The planets, so there are 2 planets, and they get close enough that they don't bang into each other, but they're close enough that someone from the top planet.
There's sexual tension between these planets.
Right.
They're close, but they're not banging.
They're not. They're
just touch, almost touching,
right on the surface.
They can feel the breath of one another.
Right on the. I was going to say panties. That just got too blunt. So
those be planetes?
Planet.
No, that doesn't work. Move on.
Two planets are right near each other, and they both have different sets of gravity. So the idea is since each planet
Science sounds good. I buy it.
since each planet has its own gravity.
Okay, they each have their own gravity. Done. I
One
understand.
item from one planet is different than the one from the other planet. So, for example, if I take a brick from another planet and go to the one below me, that brick is going to go backwards because it's abiding by the gravity of that planet.
The prior planet.
Yeah. So it gets interesting. So if you have two items like that are from opposing planets, they can balance each other out. But if they stay together long enough, they set on fire after a while. So it's
Once again, the science works out.
When did you become Stephen Hawking? This is
right.
You've been watching too much of Bill Nye.
So
or not enough.
Jim Sturgis' character, Adam, and Kirsten Dunst are from opposing planets.
Is she named Eve?
Eden.
Oh,
Adam and Eden. Close. So basically, they
You
meet.
should write this film, John.
They meet when they're younger. And
Early
then
draft.
yeah.
There's a horrible accident, and then he doesn't see her for 10 years, and then he sees her again, and he finds a way to get to her. But he uses insane means. So basically, also on top of that, the other planet, one planet's very wealthy, and the other planet's very poor. Guess who comes from the poor planet? The dude. So
I didn't even get the guess.
So it's just, a class issue, different planets, blah, blah, blah.
It looked kind of cool, but as I was watching it, I was noticing two things. One, which was the story sounded a little hard to sort of take seriously as like sci-fi. It seems more like a fairy tale or a fable.
Yeah, that's one
and
of
that
the
just
things.
made me wonder, like, what's the tone of the movie like?
The tone of the movie. That's the thing. It's you have to abide by the laws of this story. Because when they're talking about it, they explain it very quickly in the beginning. Two planets, opposing planets with gravity. They do it really quickly, and then they throw you into the world, and then you forget things. So, like, something will happen, and you're like, oh, shit, that's why that happened, because of the planet rules. Mm-hmm. It's a bit goofy. It's a bit goofy because of that. And it works in some parts, but it is a flawed movie, and you can tell why it was delayed so many times. But I'll say this: visually, it is a beautiful movie.
I think I interrupted you when you were about to say something about the director.
Oh, the director, he's an Argentinian man that's never done anything American.
An Argentinian man. I love how you tried to combine Argentinian and man. Argentinian man.
I'm an American man.
So I've never seen anything this gentleman has done, but this movie is...
Except for this.
This movie's solid. It's a good movie to watch with a significant other, a sig of, and you'd enjoy it. You'd enjoy it because it's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. And it doesn't... It doesn't...
If I try to throw a brick at my significant other while I'm watching this movie, will the brick go backwards?
Maybe if it's from an opposing planet, it would.
Oh, I better make sure.
Right.
Folks, before you throw bricks at people, find out what planet your bricks came from.
Oh, yeah. So that's what makes it so interesting. It's a cool... I think it's cool enough to check out, but it does have its flaws. I'll give you an example. The planet, the gravity, the time travel situation with...
Time travel?
Time travel?
Yeah, time travel rules. And what's the name of the movie we watched?
Looper
are easier to follow than this is.
Okay.
But this is a fun movie. I'd say it was a fun movie.
Okay.
I wonder why it got pushed back.
I think it's obviously a hard sell.
It's a hard sell.
Yeah.
Like, only because, like, I got it because I've watched so many sci-fi movies that you know, like when you watch Looper or Out of Time, you watch those movies and you get it really quickly. You're able to, but this is one of those movies, like, I can feel somebody in the movie like, what does that mean? How does that, you know?
I'm lost.
It's not that hard to, but I can see how people could. It's going to be, I think it'll be a good release. They probably spent a lot of money on it. I didn't see how much the budget was, but it's probably lots of money.
Well, it certainly looked expensive from the trailer, but like I said, I could just sort of tell that it was like a Romeo and Juliet kind of, you know,
it is
wrong side of the tracks. Love
50
story.
mil.
Yeah.
And then there's a big
50
twist
mil
in it
budget.
that you kind of find out too, but that makes the idea of love kind of coming together harder, and it's still very neat. But the problem is the third act gets messy, and that's another thing. I don't know if they're gonna cut it differently, but the cut I saw of it, the third act was very choppy. When the resolution happened, it was very abrupt. And you're like, oh, okay, all right.
Just for a point, this film, the reason that you probably were able to get a hold of this film is because it came out on August 22nd in Kazakhstan. That's the only place it was released.
Holy shit.
US March 15th and Europe April 17th of 2013. Kazakhstan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wanted to throw that in there for you. And where it made $8 million. $8 million of its $50 million budget is already made back thanks to Kazakhstan.
Wow. So it's going to do well.
So
Zing.
So why didn't you tell us you went to the Kazakhstan Film Festival, Ronald?
You didn't even invite us.
Yeah.
You jerk.
Head wrap and all. I was there.
That was you. It's the head wrap.
That was me.
Oh, okay.
Bati? That was me. I don't know why I did that end part.
I don't know.
Offensive. Just took the wind out of the sails of this
Normally,
conversation.
all of our ethnic caricatures are so studied and appropriate.
And
I love impressions that are impressions of impressions.
Yeah.
Those are funniest.
Yeah, my wife has a general kind of foreign person voice that she uses for anyone
goodness.
from another country that was talking to her.
Really?
It's like, Niki? They all talk exactly the same.
so what did you see, John?
I saw a couple of documentaries. One that is actually, at the time you're hearing this, it will have come out just a few days before. It's a movie called The Bitter Buddha. It's a documentary directed by Steve Feinartz, and it's about the stand-up comic Eddie Pepitone, who is actually kind of I mean, he's a little bit of a that guy in that you've seen him in things like he has a small role in Old School, and he's been on a lot of sitcoms doing cameos, and I think every now and then I'll still see him pop up on commercials, but he's this. And the title of the film, The Bitter Buddha, really sort of one of the characters says that's one of his nicknames. His friends call him that because he really is a guy who likes to believe he has this sort of serene, philosophical outlook on life, but he's just a really angry guy. I mean, and he's that kind of angry comic that his anger is like some people, it feels like they're playing a character. And other people, it feels like there really is something inside them that just processes everything through this kind of anger. So it's not like that kind of Sam Kinison anger or that kind of Lewis Black anger that feels like almost like a character. Like with Eddie Pepitone, you really do feel like there's something kind of, I mean, maybe it's the fact that he's in his 50s and he's still sort of a relatively obscure figure. I mean, again, I'm sort of a big stand-up comedy fan, so I'd sort of heard of him for years, but even I didn't really know much about him until the last few years when every stand-up comic in the world had a podcast. And basically he's shown up on a few shows, so I've heard some interviews with him. And he's just a really thoughtful, interesting guy. And he really does say these kind of simple things that contain a lot of truth. I mean, they're simple and they're kind of funny and they're kind of angry. They're not quite one-liners, but his material is very unusual and unique. And a lot of it is just him basically getting on stage and just yelling about how much his life sucks and how much life is a joke and how much but there's a weird sort of undercurrent to it. He tries to remind you of the good things too, and he tries to remind you of all the people around you that you do experience a lot of love in this life too. And so there's a little bit of like you feel like he's got something to say, I guess. And the movie is interesting because it really does show you this guy, and it shows you, as with any time you see a kind of a documentary about a personality, you get, there's all these fellow comics that are on camera speaking really highly of him. And so you get that sense that he's kind of a comics comic. One of them in the movie says that he's like the guitar player that all the other guitar players think is a good guitar player. But that maybe the casual audience member is not recognizing the genius of that person. And the other unique thing about him is that despite the fact that he's in his early 50s, his audience is a young audience that's into the kind of alternative comedy. And there's this kind of thing where I think it has something to do with the fact that he is in his 50s and he is still angry about these things that seem to be like a young man trying to figure things out. Like the fact that he's in his 50s and he's still trying to figure things out and he's just bitter about the fact that he hasn't figured things out. I don't know, there's something kind of inspirational in that, and you can see why a young audience responds to him. and the other thing the movie does that I thought was neat was it doesn't just show you this guy and show you that he's kind of a frustrated guy whose career never really took off. It actually addresses some of the reasons why maybe he hasn't broken into, through that ceiling into the next level of fame.
Oh, wow.
Like he mostly lives in LA and he mostly does shows around LA. He doesn't tour a lot, and you kind of get a sense from the other comics in the movie talking about him that everyone sort of feels like if he would just tour more or like develop his audience more, he would probably be one of those big names.
Right.
But
Right.
I don't know. It's an interesting movie, and it's a small movie. And I think so many of these documentaries that we watch are connected to even something like Queen of Versailles that's about a family is connected to these larger economic issues that we've all heard about. This movie is really just about a guy and his relationship with his dad and his relationship with his audience and his kind of attempt to navigate this sort of middle ground of fame, and also the certain amount of hopefulness he has that like, oh, wait a minute, I might be like, this might be the apex of my career, but this might lead to bigger and better things. You do get a sense that like, that he would welcome more opportunities, but he doesn't seem to want to compromise in any way to get to it. So it's a really interesting movie. I did find myself maybe about halfway, 2/3 in, kind of thinking, is there really a movie here? But the second I started to feel that way, the movie kind of takes a turn and it comes into his relationship with his father. And that stuff is interesting enough that it really does feel like it's a very small film. It's a character study, but it feels timely because it's the story of a guy who sort of feels like life has him under its boot heel, and he's scrambling to try to get out from under that, and he doesn't know exactly how to do it. I think we can all kind of relate to that on some level, or even if you don't relate to it, you'll relate it to somebody in your life, one of those sort of people that is brilliant, but they've never seen the success that they should. So I would really recommend it. It's on demand right now. I know it's on iTunes, and I think it's going to be in theaters soon as well. So I would definitely recommend it if you're in the mood, if you like movies about stand-up comics, and B, if you are, willing to just sort of explore a different, basically just a personality. I mean, that's all the movie is. It's just an exploration of this guy and his life. So
definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah.
That sounds cool, man.
Buddha.
I honestly don't think I've ever heard his name before. I do recognize his face, but I have never heard his stand-up.
I didn't really make it sound like a very funny movie, but it's a great entry point for his stand-up because he's got an album called I think it's called A Certain Stillness. Like one of his bits, I'll just give you an indication. He gets up on stage and he basically says he envies he wishes he was the audience because to him his life is just shit, but to them it's fucking hilarious. That's kind of his standpoint.
Right. I gotta check it out. What about you, Steve?
The only other ones that I really saw were two horror films. Well, one's a horror film and one's a documentary about Halloween. These are the two that I mentioned that were on Netflix. The first is called The PACT. I've kind of like created this list of horror films. I came across an article on Shock Till You Drop that was about like horror films that you have never heard of that are good. Like the best horror films you've never heard of. And so I've created this list and I've kind of started to work my way through it. And this was the first one that I was able to see. It's on Netflix. It's called The PACT. It came out in 2012, I think in June. I don't know, to say it up front, like I don't think it was a very good film. Mm-hmm. There are a couple kind of solid scenes in the film that I thought were pretty creepy. The basic premise is that a young lady comes home for her mother, to mourn her mother's death. And when she comes into town, she realizes her sister's gone missing, which we see happen in the opening scene of the film. And through trying to investigate what's happened, she also her cousin disappears, and all these people are disappearing. And she comes across this Judas name that she keeps hearing. And doing some research. She realizes that there's like this serial killer
in the library.
Yeah, of course, that's where you research, duh.
Of course.
Named Judas, and she does all this research, and there's a link to her family, a link to her mother, a link to her mother's death, and possibly some family members that she never was aware of to begin with. There's some supernatural elements. There's a girl in the town that's like a medium, and she can like sense it and conjure these spirits, and it doesn't really work for me. Like I said, there's a couple of scenes that really work pretty well. I mean, it's definitely going after the audience that is into the sinister, the paranormal activity type films. It does have a real
bad films.
Yeah. Right?
It's so shitty films.
I'm a fan of the paranormal films.
Well, I like except for the last one.
Yeah, the last one is the only one I really had an issue with.
But that was a good. But
the thing I would say about this one though is that what it's playing into in terms of the paranormal side is more of a guide in the film, but the actual horror or the actual element of fear and threat is a real thing, which is kind of interesting, I guess, because I mean, it's not something that there's some hokey thing going on with. It's a physical, it's a form. You can touch it or touch him, touch her, whatever. Which is kind of interesting, you know, when you realize what that is. But overall, not a really solid film. I hope that my list of films suggestions from this website increase in value as I make my way down it. But the PACT's on Netflix. If you want to check it out. It seems it got like 60 or 70% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't remember this movie coming out, but I remember a few months ago, or a couple of months ago, when I was looking on demand for a movie that I might watch, I saw it there, and it's just one of those. It was just one of those odd times where it was, you know what I mean, like a movie completely snuck out. Like, was it in the theaters at all?
It showed at Sundance last year, and I don't think it ever really got much of a theatrical release. I mean, it did come out. It had like a small little run. I think just to get it, whatever deal they sign for distribution, it gets it into a theater. But where they're going to really make money is like the on demand or the Netflix or whatever. But it's a smaller film. I mean, it's not like any kind of major studio release. I don't even think IFC maybe did it in some small theaters, which obviously are like really small landmark art house cinemas. But, you know, it's on Netflix now, so if you want to check it out, I mean, some people may have already been aware of it. I was thinking it might have been, you know, my goal with this list is to find a genuine horror film that I missed. And, you know, like a film like The Loved Ones, which I saw last year, which I loved. I'm kind of looking for another movie like that. So I think as I'm watching them, I'll drop them on the podcast here. And as I go down my list, hopefully I find some gems. And I'll just mention it real quick since it's relating to the horror Halloween element. Also on Netflix is The American Scream, which is a documentary that I actually was very impressed by. I love Halloween. I used to like make my own haunted house when I was a kid. Like in the woods, we had like a little tractor. We made a haunted hayride kind of thing. I love that kind of creation and development and trying to scare people. I do that as much as I possibly can now, like just jumping out, scaring my friends whenever I can. But it's a documentary that basically looks at three households, three families in the same town who like go gung-ho for Halloween. Like their household, their yard, their family, everybody's all in to decorate their house and make an experience for the kids in the neighborhood mainly and anybody else that wants to enjoy it. It's directed by Michael Stevenson. You know, it's a small film again. It was on the Chiller Network. It came out right around Halloween. It's when it made its debut there, but it's on Netflix now. Just a really cool film. I mean, you kind of see like it's like finding your passion, you know, like it's in the most random of places. But I mean, there's three gentlemen in this movie that they center on, and that you see that they're passionate about something. And one of them has this great job, and I mean, through the film, he actually loses his job, but he has this great job that pays well, and in the technology sector, and he could give a shit less about it. What he really cares about all year is getting this thing for for the kids for Halloween. And by the end of the film, he is able to possibly pursue that as a career, because of what happens at his other job, which I think is really cool. And just seeing that much passion. I mean, I would love to go to this guy's house and check it out. I mean, it looks awesome. Like the one, it's funny though, because they do it in 3 levels. Like there's the guy that does it like he is hardcore, tries to make professional props. He scenes out his whole yard like for different scares as you walk through, as if you would at like a real haunted house that you go to at these big farms and whatnot. And then there's like the middle guy who's like, puts about half the effort in, still is pretty effective, looks good. And there's like the guy that's kind of like, he's kind of poor, but he still wants to do what he can. He kind of throws random shit together to make props and to make it something. It's on Netflix. It's on Blu-ray, DVD as well out there now. But it's just a cool movie. I mean, like, I don't know. It gets me too, because like I said, when I was a kid, I used to try to make my own haunted hayrides and like. Just all my friends and family from the street would come down and ride it, and it was like a blast. And it's like that, but on a big scale. And cool. Just talking about like how it affects their family life, especially the guy that's like the top level kind of guy. Like he goes to like conferences to learn how to set up the proper scare, and like he goes to horror conventions to like buy props, and it's legit, man. And like he's trying to make it his life, and one of them actually has a chance to possibly do that at the end of the film, and it's kind of cool to see it through like that. But yeah, I would absolutely. I mean, of all the movies I've seen since we last got together, this was probably the best one I saw. And I've actually watched it twice just because my girlfriend wanted to watch it with me, and we watched it again because she wasn't able to see it the first time. And it's just cool. It's just fun, man. It's just really fun to see people that care about what they're doing, and even if they're not being paid for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
you know, like I don't forget what that quote is, but like it's something about like, you know, oh man, what is it? Like if you find what you find what you love to do, and if you can do it every day, you'll never work a day in your life, something like that. And it's like that's what these guys are trying to do, and it's cool. And it's just fun that it's Halloween because I love Halloween.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I would check it out. I think you'd really like it. It's on Netflix.
Anybody interested in that documentary Room 237?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's on my list.
I want to see that so bad.
The other movie that I saw, and I know you saw it already, Steve, was West of Memphis.
Yeah.
What did you think of that? You may have mentioned it.
I really liked it. I mean, I'm a huge, I don't want to say fan, but I'm a big supporter, and just I need to know, want to know, have to know about this whole West Memphis 3 situation. I watched all the Paradise Lost films as they aired on HBO over the past like 10 years. And it's kind of interesting to see this one come out because this one obviously coming out after they were released. Right. And Damien being very involved in the production of this film. The last Paradise Lost film that came out a couple years ago, there's a lot of similarities between the two. I think this one, it goes a little more into the investigative piece of what they were trying to find out of basically who did this. It's like the real issue now is not that this happened and that, you know, these kids, these men now were in jail for 17 or 18 years, but that it's still not solved, you know. Right. If that's the case, you know, even though they had to enter a guilty plea to get out of jail and they had to still kind of commit to that, there's still, I think it's common belief that there's, you know, that the real person who did that is still out there.
Yeah, it really seems like the prosecutors knew that they didn't really have the right guys. So the corruption involved in that is really kind of scary and depressing to think about. Like the state was not going to open up the trial. They weren't going to get a retrial. But they were able to do this other thing. And because they pled guilty, now the state can basically say, case closed. There's no investigation into who really did it.
There's no more state funds. There's no more personnel, anything being dedicated to this case anymore. And I mean,
weird.
It's good, and I mean, you know,
it's a real bittersweet kind of ending.
You see, and one of them actually in the film, you see them. I think it's actually Jason,
it's Jason,
who doesn't really want to do this because I mean, like I'm not guilty, you know, like this whole ordeal has been to prove that we weren't guilty, but it's also been to get them out of jail, you know, and to begin, you know, free men again, you know, years later. And
the ticking clock in this case is supplied by the fact that Damien Eccles is on. He's the only one that was sentenced to death.
Right.
So he's on death row, and so like that's where the sort of ticking clock comes in. It's like we've got to get these guys. It won't matter if we prove that they were innocent after this guy's been executed. So there's definitely. I mean, it's a pretty compelling story. You associate these movies, you know, this is a child murder story. Mm-hmm. You associate these movies with maybe showing you a quick glimpse of like an autopsy photo or something like that. This movie shows so many cuts to like, I mean, you get such a sense of the horror of what happened to these like basically like 7 or 8 year old boys. It's so horrifying to think about. The movie really does. I mean, it takes a lot for me to want to shield my eyes when I'm watching something, and this was a rare occasion where I was just like, all right, you know, like I did, because after a while I didn't trust the movie to cut away quickly enough. Right. You know, you're used to seeing like half a second, and this movie would show it for like 2 seconds, and so it just got to the point where it was like, I don't know that I want to see the, you know, the crime scene photos, but I do think it served to make you realize what a horrible crime. And then to, at the end, have that sting of, oh, and the guy that it really looks like is guilty, it can't be brought in because the case is closed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really it's a tough watch. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Like I feel like I have invested so much into the other films, the Paradise Lost film, to see it go that next step further. Because in Paradise Lost 3 Purgatory, they've referenced Terry Hobbs, who's the stepfather of I think Stevie Branch, one of the little boys that was murdered, and it just suggests it, and it gives a little bit into it just so that it plants that doubt. And then, but this film goes much further into that, you know, because of Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh like funded this private investigator
you find out
that went outside the system and talks to family members and like, you know, corroborating stories and how they don't.
And the friend he was supposedly with as an alibi is a huge part of the story.
Big scene.
Yeah.
It's. I mean,
it reminded me of The Imposter in that sense, in that there's those scenes where you just get chills thinking about
it's like a turn. Yeah.
Did I tell you that I saw that?
Oh no.
Okay, I saw it.
Good.
That's another thing I saw.
Good. But yeah, West of Memphis, I mean, I don't really, I'm still very confused by its release pattern. I don't know exactly how. I mean, I know it showed
Right.
in theaters in end of December, and I think it's gotten some sort of release now through January, but I don't see it in any theaters where we are. But I think I mentioned it on my top films of the year. I definitely seek the film out if you can get a hold of it, because I think it's an important film to see, because it's a true injustice and an unsolved mystery that is very disturbing. And I mean, I don't have kids. I know you do. Yeah.
That might have been why some of those shots bothered me so much. Plus the investigation, the new evidence about what actually happened to their bodies, whether it was injuries before they were killed, or that stuff was gripping beyond belief. Like,
absolutely.
And it was crazy to see. I mean, like some of that stuff, there's a couple of aha moments in there that just make you go, oh my God, I can't believe that it took them this long to see that. To see this.
Yep, absolutely.
It's getting to be an oft-told story. Isn't there going to be a fictional version of that as well?
Yeah, I think like Reese Witherspoon and Colin Firth are in it.
I would still recommend that someone watch the Paradise Lost film.
I have them.
I would recommend the Paradise Lost film. I mean, they're a lot more in depth, because like John said, they're kind of, the timing of them were at the time, or closer to the time that it actually happened, in the middle of the process of trying to realize that there's been a problem in how this was served, and the attempt to get that changed. Yeah. And then the last one kind of showing that last push and eventual success. Yeah. And I think that the timing of when they came out, in terms of what evidence was uncovered, and also the support that swelled for them, through those films, I think is really impressive to watch.
I'm gonna
too.
Check it out.
Yeah. In fact, if you watch the first one, if someone said to you it'll be another 15 years before these guys are out, you might have shit your pants.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because even in the first movie, it seems pretty clear that they were kind of railroaded.
Yeah, totally.
So,
so I saw The Imposter. I guess we were talking about documentaries.
Yeah, what do you think?
It was so good. The thing about it is, how the hell?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't say an answer to that without saying you had to have been involved in why that kid went missing.
What was so weird about that too is like when they had the private investigator, it made him seem like he was smarter than he really was. It's just common sense.
Yeah.
Like, you see two people, he's like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
I seen him.
Well, he's the first one to say that guy doesn't look like that guy.
Right. Which most people would have done anyway.
Yeah.
It's just a very strange thing the way it occurred, but it was a solid movie. I felt like it kept me interested the whole time, and it made me cringe so much. Mm-hmm. Oh man! And seeing the guy actually speak when the footage was, I just wanted to be, I was like, man, what the hell, man?
How does that happen?
How do you convince yourself that that's your kid though? That's
glad you finally saw it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Good, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I saw it.
It seems that there's been like I think positive documentary experience.
Yeah.
With a lot of films that we've talked about.
I needed to see a good documentary, and I'm glad I saw Imposter. I'm going to try to watch some more.
Yeah, put that American Scream in your queue.
Yeah, I think Netflix is starting to become king of documentaries.
Well, Searching for Sugar Man is up on iTunes as well for like
that was really I saw that too.
Rental.
Exactly.
That was great. Yeah,
okay,
I finally saw that too.
Well, we'll check it out next time.
We'll talk about it more. Yeah, that'd be good.
Cool.
I don't know. I just feel like documentaries. It's hard. I don't know. I guess that's probably too general to say. It's hard to go wrong, but the ones that find a mainstream awareness or exposure usually are pretty solid. Mm-hmm. And you're right. Netflix really has opened up the can. I was mentioning earlier.
So many.
I think they're just kind of trying to, it's definitely a treasure trove of like documentaries or old TV shows, but the documentary piece is huge. I mean, and I think the Netflix recommendation engines are incredible. Like after you watch a film and you rate it, or if you go through and rate other documentaries, I mean, there's been like 4 or 5 random things I've never heard of in my life that it's recommended after I watched The American Scream, or after I watched like Queen of Versailles on there, I watched that again. The random documentaries I never knew were out there, and I've watched. I'm like, oh, that was good, at least good. That's more than I can say for some of these movies that we're seeking out in theaters or waiting to come out on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever,
or avoiding like Good Day to Die Hard.
or something. I don't know.
I've been avoiding the hell out of it. I still kind of want to see it though, and I think that they've also been working on their quality, just the quality
stream,
of the.
Well, I read an interesting
of the-
article
upgraded it.
the
about
quality
that with
of
Netflix.
the movies.
That they because they have to really update their delivery system if they're going to do the. I mean, like when Arrested Development comes out in May.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to come out.
How
in
do you
May.
feel about them plopping the season?
Well, I
down?
was about to say,
that makes me uncomfortable.
I think it's a cool thing for something like what Arrested Development is supposed to do, because supposedly those are episodes that could be watched in any order. Like they supposedly made it so that there's interlocking scenes,
cool.
but like you could watch them in whatever order you want to. Which to me, that kind of thing sounds really fun. But what's interesting is they definitely have updated their delivery system, because they know that, for instance, when that show comes out, they're expecting everyone in the world to try to watch all the episodes like in a block. You know. But the other thing that was related to what you were saying about the recommendation engine and everything, the way that they can monitor not just what you watched, but when you stopped watching something, when you paused something and came back to it, what you paused, and they can actually probably have a metric for, well, a lot of people stopped this, but they finished, or they stopped this and they seemingly came back a week later and or whatever. They can tell. So, I mean, it might give them like a false sense of security about like, pegging, well, people love this and they hate this. They don't know if you stopped watching it because you had an emergency, or because something came up, or because you were bored. Right. You know what I mean? So it can be misleading, but I'm to understand that show, House of Cards,
they plopped down 13
was
episodes.
Sort of put together as a, like, they know that their customer base liked Kevin Spacey. They knew their customer base liked David Fincher. They knew their customer base was watching these cable dramas in, all these. So it's like they had all this information about what people's viewing habits were, and they might be. I mean, you could probably say that other services would have that too, but I think Netflix has done a good job of developing the technology. I mean, in a sense, like, it's great when it recommends something you might actually like, or when it recommends something you actually already like. Yeah. But it's weird to think that information, that every little move you make on Netflix is somehow getting recorded into their, like,
they could probably sell that data for large chunk of money.
I don't get too paranoid about that idea of like what information is out there, but
studios.
Yeah, but I mean that idea, it does start to seem a little bit like, okay, that now they're trying to read our minds, you know. Yeah. Now they're trying to program, and I guess maybe what I'm saying is I don't know that programming that's made purely to satisfy what they see as a certain demographic demand. I don't know in the end if that's the best instincts to follow when you're making content. Yeah. But
sometimes it's just haphazardly becomes popular, like Arrested Development. I don't think anybody predicted that it would have
when that
the
came
cult
out, it seemed like an odd...
Yeah, it got canceled, and then it became a cult classic. So it's interesting to see how they're going to handle it. I don't like the idea of them plopping it down all of the episodes at the same time, because they did it for
House of Cards.
Yeah. And I just watched the pilot. I'm hooked.
I've watched it all.
You watched it all? I'm probably going to watch the rest.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's the best thing out there, but for what it is, I mean, I do.
So I watch House of Cards, and it reminds me of that. I don't know if you watch House of Cards, House of Lies.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
House of Lies has it's just
that is so confusing that there are two cable dramas that have come out like in the same year.
Yeah. Talking to the screen and like the
I like that.
And the way he manipulates things. House of Lies is a better show.
I feel like House of Cards is like House of Lies and Game of Thrones had a baby. In terms of how many different camps there are and double cross, all these.
And also Scandal. You ever watch Scandal?
You were telling about that. No.
Scandal is my show.
Oh, your house is falling down, John. I feel like I actually kind of like it, but it makes me worry about Netflix in terms of being able to sustain something.
Right.
There's no real ad revenue coming from that. And
the Netflix CEO is an ass.
The idea is to also...
I don't know if you've ever read any interviews with him. He is an ass. He's a very
The idea is to also they need to not only maintain their subscriber base but grow it. So with House of Cards, they gave away the first episode. They set up a site where you go watch the first episode without needing a membership.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's great and everything. But then when they get the membership and they sign up and it's month to month or whatever, they watch all 13 and they're gone. How do you prevent that?
Right.
Exactly.
And I mean that's where you need to use it as it's a gateway for people to get into it. And to see that there are other things inside of this magical world.
Don't you think all
of
subscription services, though, kind of bank on the idea that that whatever difficulty it poses for you to have to cancel something you're
totally.
you're not going to go to that
Totally.
problem. You know what I mean? Like,
I will, but
no,
the
I'm
majority of
saying I think a
people-
lot of people do,
Yeah,
but I
you're
do
right.
think
The
I do think
majority-
that they're counting on you to
But-
go, oh, I'm signed up, and like
Netflix is very
Most people
easy to
do.
cancel, which is also very interesting. You would think that it'd be very hard. It's just like, done.
yeah.
I thought that it'd be like, you sure? You sure? Well, send it here.
Well, think about that though. If they do have people that subscribe just for a month just to watch something
They
like
do.
that, they still make $8 off of every one of those people.
You're absolutely right.
You know,
I think the next thing they're gonna have to spring for is a sci-fi level something.
They have
Some of those-
they have that Eli Roth
yeah.
horror.
it's horror it's horror. I think it's horror, maybe horror sci-fi. God, I don't even know. I should probably know the name of that because I actually really want to see that. It's like the name of a street or something like that, I think.
P.S. Hannibal. How you feeling about that? Did you see the trailer?
This really has turned into TV Schmovie.
Yeah, it has. I did see the trailer. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. Hemlock Grove is the Eli Roth one.
Oh,
it's-
when's that come out?
It's horror. I don't know, dude. I don't have this schedule in
We
front of
don't
me.
traffic in facts and
you see
information
when
on
they
this
put-
podcast.
What's
Let's
that?
see when they put the gam. Did they stamp a date on it?
I'm trying to look it up now for you, but I don't know. I know they were pimping it out like crazy for when House of Cards hit April 19th.
Oh, it's close.
So that's the in between for. I mean, this is an original one that they produced as well. I guess what you kind of were alluding to a little bit, like even if they sign up for the the month and get that $8 from the person, my question is in this model, getting those one-off users, or even if it's a user that comes on and just says, "Okay, I'm going to subscribe to this. I may watch a movie every once in a while, but I'm going to subscribe to this because." They're going to come out with these other original shows instead of paying for ABC, NBC, this stupid cable package.
Yeah.
I'll just stick with the $8 a month and I'll watch whatever they put out and maybe catch some other stuff while I'm at it.
Yeah.
That's what they're banking on. That person, that user. Because the reality is, I think that $8 they're getting in, I think that if it was a normal network paying or making money off of their advertising, if you look at the number of subscribers to like whoever your cable provider is in this area, Comcast, Verizon, whatever, the actual network, how much they get back net from these advertising dollars for each viewer. I mean, that $8 may be substantially more from, what somebody watching Scandal or, pick whatever ABC, NBC show you watch. And that's where I think I would love to know more about that. I've been trying to find information about that because it really interests me.
Yeah, like how much money do you actually, by me watching NBC programming, how much money is NBC actually making off of me on Thursday night when I turn on my television for the only time I turn on to a network all week and watch 3 sitcoms and then don't go back
and I'm
to
gone.
That. Yeah.
But, I pay every month.
How valuable am I to NBC?
I pay every month for, whatever your bill is. I mean, cable bills are astronomical now. They're ridiculous. And you like a person and I have a cable subscription and I never watch TV.
I never watch TV.
I have to have it though, because otherwise they just pretty much rape me just to have internet in my house.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
It's crazy.
That is a bad plan, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
They didn't even discuss that.
I mean, not to, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. You just moved into your newer place and and to get a plan of a good internet subscription, it's almost as much as if you got the double play or whatever the hell it's called, or just to get it by itself. But my point is that I just feel like getting me to pay $8, so, in the course of a year for me to pay $96, to subscribe to Netflix, that's 1 month's cable bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
his math checks out.
Thank you.
I think what they're banking on too is that this whole idea that people are gonna kind of lean towards that for content. So I think the brave person, the brave director that says, I'm gonna release this to Netflix exclusively is when it's going to shake things up a little bit.
Well, it is true that
a film.
Yeah,
it is true that
agree.
if you think about the on-demand model or the iTunes model or those places where same time as theaters, like when we've already discussed this, how a movie that might be in 3 cities can be on demand. Maybe bypass, maybe do that same thing.
They actually have been doing it for some of the documentaries and stuff. Like if you notice that some of the stuff that's currently in theaters, like documentary stuff, is some of the indie movies they've been putting on Netflix very fast.
Like Sleepwalk with Me was one of the ones.
So
that I can
they're
recall.
starting that whole model slowly, and I think I'm gaining a lot more respect for the Netflix.
Yeah, I know
model.
you used to hate it. We used to go back and forth about it.
Stupidest
so much.
thing in the world.
Yeah.
And it still has some stupid aspects still, but what they're doing is really, I think, is revolutionary, and I think that other people need to pay attention.
I only regret that 2 months ago I didn't buy a shitload of Netflix stock.
Right.
Because last month their stock like doubled in price.
Yep.
Really.
And I mean their subscriber base has grown. Now maintaining and growing that is the challenge. I mean they've really spiked. And I mean, I love everything about Netflix. Honestly, I think they have some question marks in their business model, and there's
See, I never minded the slight price increase because it seemed like it was still a good deal. But what's
really
funny is that no one talks about Quickster anymore. We've all just forgotten Quickster.
let's just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah,
but yeah,
totally
I think Netflix is. I don't have the physical disc plan. I just do the streaming.
Right, same.
But I mean, I think the fact. I mean, Netflix is in everything. I mean, the smart TVs, the Blu-rays, the gaming consoles, your smartphones.
Have you watched Netflix
everywhere.
on like Apple TV?
It's great.
What the hell, man? Like they've really been stepping up their sharp. Everything's sharp.
Well,
and
did you
Super HD? Do you know?
that's what I was saying. Netflix has Super HD now that
man.
they're releasing.
And
Unfortunately,
it's not in
in
our
this
area
area, it's not supported by the
It will be soon.
cables
I think.
provider.
I've noticed a lot fewer buffering problems, though. I mean, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think their infrastructure has improved as
So
well.
I think they realize.
I like to note that I love this conversation about Netflix.
Yeah.
I love just this comment. Yeah,
It had to. I mean, I think that what happened.
I think it's a turning point. Watching House of Cards, watching that whole season in one weekend, which I did when it came out. Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, shotgunning
I
it like
didn't
you
watch
would a show that I want to catch up on.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not sitting in front of my TV, like I don't ever do, I seek these shows out, online sites, whatever, friends that have a DVR or whatever it is, and I do that. I would prefer personally to watch a season back to back to back to back. I do that for most of the shows I love. If I fall more than two episodes behind, I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna watch them all at once. I do that for Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Dexter, all these shows that I love because I just don't sit down and watch TV every week. And this, making content delivered to me on any device that I want, I don't have to seek it out anywhere. It's a part of my $8 membership, and it's a quality show made by quality directors. One of my favorite directors, and a lot of great talent in the film. I guarantee you that when the Emmys come around next year, I don't know how that's going to work into it, but Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright are absolutely going to be nominated for Best Actor and Best Actress Emmys, and I think that's going to shake things up. When they might even, and she I think may even win.
Yeah.
For an online series. I mean, that's going to be crazy,
That's going to make
right?
people go bonkers, man. And that's when people
really
are going
does
to say
shake it up.
maybe it'd be okay if we released a movie.
I would love that, Ronald. I think that'd be. I would love to see how that works.
Because it's. I mean, I think that there's such a stigma about things going straight to DVD and video on demand for some people because they don't realize that there is some value in that, and everything doesn't have to have the same sort of. I think that people felt like that about music too. That music couldn't be delivered anyway, but the way that it's delivered by record labels and stuff like that. But people are their own record labels. People are their own producers and directors. And there's now web series on YouTube and Vimeo.
Totally.
And I think that there has to be a place where the business model has to change because shitty things are being produced on these mainstream forums. And if they can't adapt, then people are going to make their own stuff.
I mean, just look at how some of the networks are scrambling and like NBC tanking left and right with big shows that were supposed to be big not happening.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe the programming for something like this, because of that sort of that ability to sort of predict what your tastes might be, maybe that even makes it a little bit less of a gamble for them, that they can know like, well, we definitely have a demographic that's part of our customer base that likes, like for instance, probably with the Eli Roth series, they know there's a lot of people that go on Netflix and watch horror.
Yeah,
Oh, totally.
Oh man, it's going to kill when it comes out.
They have amazing horror. I mean, and they have an amazing horror library, catalog of titles.
Well, what I love is that it's if it's a genre like that you might just watch anytime. There's definitely some shit you've never heard of that sometimes you see it's got 1.5 stars and you go, okay, I'm gonna sit down and see what this is about. But other times you'll see that it's gotten positive reviews. It is possible for something really good to kind of slip through the cracks and show up on Netflix. But no, it's interesting. It definitely feels like.
I would love to see what Ron.
I was about to say that, and for that stigma to kind of go away. Because I mean, when you think about the fact that what you were saying about music, I mean, let's not talk too much about the artists making money because that's a different thing. But just as far as like how you approach things, it definitely has what we now look at. It almost seems like there was a bubble of time when it was possible the companies to kind of control how the money was made in music, because there was only one way to get music. You had to go to the shop and buy it. And now that there's all these different ways, I mean, it does seem to sometimes trickle down to artists making more specific work that might not get made if you were waiting for a giant company to back this material.
It's the
so if
immediacy
Netflix gets into kind of like a little bit more of the kind of little indie things and things like that like, you know, might not have had any kind of audience, and now it's getting pushed by that venue. That'd be pretty impressive.
I think the problem with Netflix is the problem that I'd have as a director. The idea that...
Well, that's right. You don't like Netflix.
I hate it in a lot of ways, but I do love aspects of it. It's the idea that if I make a movie, it gets thrown into this pile, and somebody will watch it, but it's still not the same way that it would be if it were on a shelf, and somebody could say, "Damn, this is a movie I could pick up, I could touch." It's a fearful. It's a fear that I have as a person.
Well, that's where there needs to be multiple channels of distribution. I mean, I think Netflix is a channel, not the channel, and I think there's no reason. And I will be shocked within the next year or two if this doesn't go this way. If Netflix is going to really go for this, if they can, a reported budget of $50 to $100 million, depending where you read, goes towards making a season of House of Cards, 13 episodes. Why can't a budget like that go towards producing a feature-length film that would otherwise see release in a movie theater or 10 theaters or whatever? Because the same thing, like John said, somebody pays $8 just to join for that month or for 2 months, or even if they make you sign a minimum thing, $8 just if you want to check it out, if somebody's in it that you like, and they market it, they promote it, they find a way to do that, advertising, radio, whatever. That's what it costs to go see a movie at a theater. It's more than that to see a movie at a theater. And that's just, you're getting the keys to something much bigger than that one thing.
And you're
that's
just
your
one
way
person
in.
subscribing,
Exactly.
but you could have 5 people watching.
HD in your house.
I think it's
something's got to give.
It's exciting to me.
I'm almost too cynical to think this is actually true, but part of me thinks this. The idealistic part of me thinks this. It sounds like there's such a direct correlation between like the quality of the product and the quality of the work, that it will, as long as the work is good, you know what I mean? As long as the shows are good or the movies are good, it's a little bit like that HBO model. That HBO has always got something to offer, like in the way that they've developed it now, where people used to subscribe the 3 months that Sopranos was running and then drop their subscription. But now if you're like a fan of that type of drama, HBO knows what they're doing. They've always got something to kind of keep you going. So I feel like if Netflix can kind of ascribe to that, and if they can keep making high quality stuff, then it does seem like it opens them up to do much more interesting things than you could ever expect a network to do. And that idea that it really is like, if it's not good, people are not going to watch it, and they're going to have very specific data about when people checked out. That might lead to better content. It's hard to know, but I do think the idea of just high quality content is really exciting.
They have to get to a point where like people trust the brand. It's getting to a point now where HBO wise, I literally will watch anything that they put out.
You'll at least give it a shot.
Yeah, because you know that. So, for example, Enlightened, I was like, Enlightened is probably going to be a shitty show. I watched it. I'm in love with that show. It's the idea that you trust HBO enough to give it a chance.
Yeah, you trust their programming.
You trust their programming. They make good. I have not seen a show within the past 3-4 years that's failed me yet. You know what I mean?
Well, I did that with the first season of Girls. I knew I wanted to watch it, and then I waited until it was over, and we watched them all in a weekend. And I have not watched any of the new season because I kind of thought, well, I'll give it 5 or 6 weeks to get into it, because I know that when I watch that show, I like spending time with those characters. So I'm happy just to watch another one and then another one and then another one.
Totally.
So to me, it seems like if Netflix, and especially the whole dropping everything at once, to me that feels like a ballsy thing to do.
It is. It makes me kind of feel weird, but I mean, I
do think there's something to be gained from wondering for a week.
Maybe 2.
And having those water cooler conversations.
I feel like 2 at a time is good.
But everything's so fractured.
2 hours of a show a week is crazy. I think with no commercials.
The whole idea of that water cooler thing you just mentioned, the whole notion of water cooler, that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Because people, because of social media, and they're playing on the second screen their phone while they're watching Netflix, House of Cards on their TV or on their computer. It happens in the moment now. It doesn't have to wait till the next day. You're watching House of Cards, or you're watching Scandal, you're watching whatever, and texting me, dude, you gotta check this show out. What do you think of this when this happened on Southland or whatever? It happens now. The water cooler thing is so it's changed so much that having I don't feel that having
You're saying that social media is why it's always so lonely. I always stand by the water cooler.
You're waiting by yourself.
I'm
Everybody
waiting there
else
by
is
the
on,
water cooler.
Everybody else is on Twitter and everything else.
The water cooler.
Did anybody
commercial-
watch The Office last night? And there's just crickets.
It's very different now. It's like I come in, I'm
It's
near the
online
water
now,
cooler.
pretty
You're
much.
like, hold on, I'm about to say something. Have you seen episode 3?
Yeah.
Okay, you seen episode 3? What about the part where like
I hate having to check to see where people are. And they're like, no, I'm on.
No.
But yeah, maybe you're right, Steve. It's like as I said that, I was like, the message board is the water cooler.
Absolutely.
Now, you know,
Yep,
so it's
you're
like you
absolutely right.
can find the spoiler board and just you're right. But you know what I'm saying. There is something to be
Absolutely.
said for
I
like
definitely know
the
what
sort
you
of
mean.
suspense and the kind of wondering what's going to happen. But
What's gonna
if you
happen.
change that and we say that this is how most of us consume news shows now anyway, it's great. I mean, again, I think it's ballsy of Netflix to just go ahead and get ahead of that and say this is how we're going to deliver it to you. You can watch it however you want. You know.
Yeah, I agree. It's risky. They have to really commit to the programming, like the regular schedule of programming, just like HBO does. When one show drops off, the other one starts up.
Yeah.
And season out, season in. So if House of Cards is the beginning of the year series, the beginning of the second quarter of the year, come April, they need to drop something, which is that Fenwick, whatever the hell, the Hemlock Grove, and that hits. And then Arrested Development's in the summer. They have to keep it going so that there's something for me to say, oh, the next one is that. I'm going to look forward to that now because I already consumed this.
Maybe you're right, because even though they dump them all at once, I have yet to watch the second
Exactly.
episode. Because everybody works at a different pace, and that's the cool part about it. Because I'm gonna.
But it's there.
I've even
for
seen
when you
some
want
outlets doing episode reviews on a weekly basis and then having like a different person review the whole season
At once.
You
Yeah,
know what I
I've
mean?
seen
So
that
it's like, and that's what's the funny thing too. And I guess we thought we had nothing to talk about. This is the longest we've recorded in a long time.
I love this topic.
Yeah.
But like the interesting part of that, just in relation to the fact that you can view it either way. It's almost like there's been this whole little sub industry of bloggers that blog about shows every week when they come out, and so it's almost like those people have to, you know what I mean? Like there's sites that's what they do. They just post recaps and reviews of episodes of shows, and so there's so many people who are used to sort of processing television shows by reviewing them on an episode to episode basis. Mm-hmm. And there have been various people that have said you can't take a show like The Wire, or you can't take a show like Deadwood or something like that and review it episode to episode as much as you can say once you've seen a season. You can talk about what they were trying to do.
Sure.
So it's interesting to see what does that do to the bloggers that have kind of made their bread and butter the idea that they're going to do weekly.
You can still do it with those other ones, though. That's the cool part. You can still do it with like the Fox shows, the ABC, that because there's still a large. The in fact, Twitter on those big days is still Those are hot topics. Those shows. Yeah, so there's still there's like a half and half sort of thing. The population that wants to live tweet a show. And then, which is
the people are so proud of watching a show that they want to spoil it for everybody.
I like live tweeting award shows. That's fun to me. But TV shows, I think there's something morally wrong with messing up a story to something through that way.
I think that this is just another way. I don't think it's going to become the rule. I think it's going to be a shift. That this generation and those to come. It's going to become a rule, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think it could. I think that, like John mentioned earlier, networks have they roll the dice a lot of times with these new programming, and they kind of pump out shit a lot of times. And the only reason that some of them ever catch on is because of what they put it before or after. And when those shows goes away, they're left in the water. Like with the example with NBC, like all these big shows that were doing so well after The Voice. I was reading an article. The shows that were leading into and out of The Voice were doing so great, and then when The Voice ended in December, those shows are now tanking, and they have nothing really.
So their choice is to either luck out with something,
right,
which they can't control, or to try to bleed The Voice dry. The way years ago they bled like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire dry, and then they bled American Idol dry. It gets to the point where they have to try to run it so much so that they can benefit from it that it becomes then kind of a workhorse. I don't know. It's interesting to see that the networks, there doesn't seem to be whatever technology Netflix is using to accurately predict what people want to watch. Doesn't seem that the networks have a firm handle of that.
Nielsen does not provide that.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, I think that's the interesting thing that it's like an old man with these old methods of dealing with things. It's almost like
Why did you look at me when you said this old?
No. You know what it actually
He
reminds me
pointed
of?
at you,
Yeah, right.
actually.
You know what it actually reminds me?
He won't put his finger down.
The whole Jack Donaghy thing on 30 Rock, like that was a metaphor for literally the
For the
way
network, yeah.
for the way it's like she was on the network making fun of how the network handles these things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's cool. I think it's going to be interesting to watch over the next couple of years, and we'll continue to talk about it. But I think no more today. I think because we've gone on for too long. That's like a whole separate podcast. I think.
I don't even know if we planned on talking about Netflix.
No, not at all.
It just came up because I mean a lot of what we saw, or like everything I saw was on Netflix.
Yeah.
And you know, it's good stuff, man. But I don't know. That's a lot we talked about tonight. I mean, there's a lot of catching up. You know, American Scream, the Pact. John talked about the Bitter Buddha and West of Memphis.
Yeah.
Ronald, Upside Down.
And something else.
You finally saw The Imposter, you said.
The Imposter.
I talked about the joys of rewatching Silver Linings.
Oh, yeah,
Playbook.
Silver Linings. Yeah, I mean, I'll say that every episode, I guess. Just watch Silver Linings if you haven't. If you have, watch it again.
Please.
But, yeah, so we're trying to get back in the swing of things now, get life back on track. Movieschmovie.net is the site. Movieschmovie@gmail.com if you want to send us any suggestions, email, feedback, whatever you'd like to send us, as long as it's nice. If it's not, don't bother.
Don't be a turd.
Yeah, don't be a turd.
Or like do that thing like the compliment sandwich. Do that thing where you can mention a couple of negative things but couch it in some more positive.
Just fool me.
Yeah.
Fool us.
Like we don't want you to be mean. We just want you to be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, continue to listen. Thanks so much for coming back to us. If you missed us, thank you.
We've missed
Yeah,
you.
and
we
did
definitely have missed this.
Last time you heard us, we were promising a Valentine's episode
right.
that didn't happen.
Right.
But I also want to just say, you fuckers didn't exactly call in
Right.
the Google Voice line either. So
Yeah, it's a ghost town on that line right
Yeah,
there.
right.
There's nothing there. I think you guys actually broke it by not calling it. But we are going to do something special next week.
yes,
We're gonna do this weekend's obviously the Academy Awards. Really looking forward to it. We're gonna do our own version next week. Maybe talk a little bit about the winners and losers and our thoughts on that. But we're gonna have our own little Schmovie Awards.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're gonna come up with some categories and some our picks for some maybe not so normal categories that you saw at the Oscars this year. Maybe some just general categories. I don't know. We haven't even decided yet.
Right.
It's a very dynamic topic at this point.
And we're going to spend also at the end of that episode 17 hours talking about Netflix.
We're gonna Netflix part 2 because John and Ronald will have watched House of Cards. Probably.
Right.
But yeah, that'll be fun. I think it's gonna be cool. We'll come
Yeah.
up with some different categories and maybe talk about some movies that either didn't get any love at the Academy Awards or just random ass movies that we just happened to love last year. Nice little another reason to talk about great movies from last year that we haven't seen any good ones beginning of this year.
Yeah.
Right.
So far.
Lots of bad ones.
Yet.
So.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening as always. You've made our day. Take care.
I enjoyed this.
You know, Ron didn't talk about any like boobs, vaginas, buttholes.
I didn't.
You know,
Anything like that?
when he started talking about the imposter, I was thinking like, were there boobs in the imposter?
I missed that.
Yeah. What's Ronald going to talk about?